Mr. Black asked me to impersonate his daughter. His wife is in the late stages of cancer, and her only obsession is with a long-lost daughter. The truth is, his daughter died a long time ago, and Mr. Black can't bring himself to tell her. Coincidentally, I look just like his wife. I said, "Sure, but you have to throw me a grand family reunion banquet and invite the Smiths. Tell them their unwanted daughter is actually highly coveted." One of the biggest regret of my life is that the Smiths never threw me a family reunion banquet. Despite being home for 3 years, people still think I'm just their adopted daughter. Can't understand why the Smiths would adopt a girl to compete with their biological daughter. Another day of feeling sorry for Lily, someone commented. My dad heard it too, but instead of explaining, he coldly said, "I told you. Lily has taken care of us for 18 years, and you owe her. As long as you're a good sister and love her as much as your brother does, I'll throw you a family reunion banquet. But you still haven't learned to properly appreciate her. You're all prickles." I sneered. Then doesn't she owe me even more for enduring 18 years of hardship on her behalf? My dad was furious and hurled a cup of hot tea at me. The scalding water hit my face, burning and stinging. Instead of defending me, my mom pulled me aside and said, "How can you say such sharp-tongued things? No wonder your father is angry. It's not Lily's fault she was adopted. With this attitude, don't ever expect us to throw you a family reunion banquet. We won't let anyone know you're a Smith's biological daughter." My brother was heartbroken and impatiently said from the couch, "Bella, is it so hard to apologize to Dad? When will you be as well-behaved as Lily?" I had merely spoken the truth, but in their eyes, I was clearly in the wrong, stubbornly refusing to change. I wiped the tea off my face, tears brimming in my eyes. I felt both sorrow and frustration. Looking at my biological father, mother, and brother, I felt completely cold inside. I let out all the grievances of 3 years in a desperate shout. "I'll never learn, and I don't want to learn. If you're so dissatisfied with me, then fine. I'll stop being the Smith's real daughter." My dad slammed the table, his anger deafening. "Are you threatening me?" I found it amusing. "It's not a threat. I'm serious. From now on, you're no longer my father." I thought making this decision would be difficult. I was so desperate for a family. But once I said it, it seemed easier than I'd imagined. Even the long-suffering heart suddenly felt relieved. Yes, I was done being the real daughter of the Smiths. This way, the fake daughter wouldn't hate me for taking her place and constantly causing trouble. And I wouldn't have to suffer from being unloved by my parents and brother, stuck in internal conflicts. That night, I bought a high-speed train ticket back to the orphanage. Early the next morning, I left the Smith family group, deleted their contact information, and left with my suitcase. They thought I was just throwing a tantrum and wouldn't really leave, so no one came to stop me. So, I dragged my suitcase a long way to the bus stop and took a bus to the train station. While waiting in the departure hall, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. "Bella, I need you to impersonate my daughter. My wife is in the late stages of cancer, and her only wish is to find her long-lost daughter. The truth is, my daughter has been dead for years, and I can't bear to tell her. I've been lying that the child was taken away. You look just like my wife, and I hope you can make her pass away with a smile. I saw your declaration about leaving the Smiths on social media. Our family, the Blacks, is willing to welcome you. To the top family in LA, the Black? I know them. They're even more powerful and influential than the Smiths. Having just decided to leave my current troubles behind, I wasn't keen on jumping into another fire pit. Moreover, I've already seen what it's like to be in a wealthy family. When they couldn't find me, I was their deepest obsession. But once they brought me home, I thought I'd receive love, only to end up with deep hurt. I'm tired and don't want to offer my heart to be trampled on again. I refused to be pitiful and quickly declined. "Sorry, I can't agree." But Mr. Black's voice on the phone was filled with desperate pleading, with hospital noises in the background. "Can't you reconsider? I'll pay you. How about 10,000 a day? 20,000? 30,000? 50,000? Bella, please. This is my wife's dying wish. It's the last thing I can do for her." His voice was so humble. It was hard to imagine he was a ruthless businessman. I heard Mr. Black is known in the wealthy circles as a devoted husband. Now, he's pleading with me for his wife. Holding the phone, I was unsure how to respond. Another voice on the line, deep and pleasant but equally humble, joined in. Bella, I'm Jimmy Black. If you agree to be my sister, I can give you anything you want. Please, my mom really needs you. She doesn't have much time left. If you can make her leave without regrets, my dad and I will be grateful for a lifetime. We'll protect you from any trouble in LA. I remained silent but felt some wavering inside. Actually, I had met the Black family before. I was still in the orphanage at the time. Mr. Black and his wife brought their son to do charity at the orphanage, donating a dormitory and library, winter coats, warm water bottles, and installing air conditioning and heating. That was my first winter in the orphanage without frostbite or shivering, and I remain grateful. I remember Mrs. Black as an elegant and cheerful woman, very beautiful and gentle. It's hard to imagine she's suffering from cancer. It must be painful. Maybe my appearance could ease her pain and fulfill her wish? I'm not ungrateful. Since my biological parents prefer the fake daughter, I'll go be a fake daughter somewhere else. I wonder how their expressions will be then. Thinking it over, I said on a whim, "Okay, I agree. But I have one request. You must throw me a highly publicized family reunion banquet. I don't want to be an unnoticed daughter. I want you to publicly acknowledge me and invite the Smiths. Tell them that their unwanted daughter is actually highly coveted." Upon hearing my agreement, Mr. Black's voice was extremely excited. "Of course, I promise you'll have the grandest family reunion banquet, inviting all the celebrities, including the Smiths. Where are you now? I'll send Jimmy to pick you up. Can you come today? I'll give you $50,000 a day." I took a deep breath. "Sure, but I don't want the money. I want love." "Love?" "Yeah, like fatherly love, sibling love, things I've never experienced. Can I have that?" I clenched my fists, nervously trying to hide my voice from sounding like a love-starved beggar. Mr. Black, however, found my careful request amusing. He switched to a lighter tone. "Of course, we'll give you plenty of love. Since we're acknowledging you as our daughter, we'll make sure you feel loved." I've heard this kind of promise from the Smiths many times before, but they only ever talk the talk, never walk the walk. I was in no mood to hold any illusions. Don't promise too much. I hate people who give hope but don't deliver. I'm at the train station now. Have my new brother come pick me up? After hanging up, I canceled my train ticket and waited at the platform for Jimmy. Soon, Jimmy requested to add me as a friend. I clicked accept, noting him as new brother. Jimmy wanted to add me to the family group. I hesitated but finally clicked accept. He posted a status update. "Found our long-lost sister. I'm finally a big brother. Don't be envious, you can't have this. Ha ha ha." Even through the screen, I could feel the excitement radiating. The Black family really wasn't trying to hide anything. Unlike the Smiths, who never mentioned me on social media, my barren heart suddenly felt a burst of joy. I didn't want to spoil the mood, so I lightly tapped to enter the family group. "Jimmy, Mom, look, we found our sister. Now our family is complete, duh. Mrs. Black, is this real? Don't joke with me, duh. Jimmy, it's real. Ask Dad if you don't believe me, duh. Mr. Black, honey, it's true. We found our biological daughter. I've already secretly done a DNA test to surprise you. Ask our precious daughter. Isn't that right?" The words, "precious daughter," made me feel even happier. I eagerly posted a message in the group. "Yes, it's true, Mom. My name is Bella, duh." Suddenly, the group's status changed. I had been added as a member, and the group name changed to "Our long-lost daughter is found." The group started buzzing with excitement. "Mr. Black, honey, Bella is truly my daughter. She looks so much like you when you were young, duh." Mrs. Black, really? Is this true? I'm so excited. Jimmy, Mom, I've got good news. Bella agreed to be our daughter. Mrs. Black, really? This is incredible. Jimmy, she's coming over today. I'm picking her up at the train station. The Black family's excitement was palpable. Mrs. Black even posted on her WeChat moments. "I found my daughter. Our family is finally complete." She didn't forget to tag her status with "Love, Family, reunions? I smiled slightly, feeling my heart finally warming up. It was time to leave the Smiths behind and welcome a new beginning with the Black family. Suddenly, a screeching brake sound pierced the air. I thought it was my new brother, Jimmy, arriving. But to my surprise, the person who stepped off the train was my biological brother, Nate. For Nate's brow furrowed as he strode toward me. Even before he reached me, his scolding voice had already reached my ears. Bella, are you out of your mind? Just because you weren't publicly announced as a Smith, you're planning to run away from home? Why do you care so much about other people's opinions? I know you're my real sister. Isn't that enough? Enough? What a jerk. To avoid making Lily feel even the slightest bit of grievance, they wouldn't even publicly acknowledge me as a Smith. Why should I be the only one suffering? I laughed sarcastically. Who are you talking to? Still acting like you're my brother? Give yourself some credit? Nate seemed shocked that the sister who usually trailed behind him, eager to please, had suddenly turned hostile. A flicker of panic crossed his eyes, but he quickly composed himself, snatching my luggage with an impatient tone. Stop pretending. I just checked. You've already canceled your high-speed train ticket and are standing here waiting for me to pick you up. If you really had the guts, you'd leave for good and never come back. I stared at him blankly. Who says I'm standing here waiting for you to pick me up? If it weren't for my new dad and new brother showing up uninvited, I would have already boarded the high-speed train, left this sad place, and never looked back. I didn't want to waste more time with him. You can leave now. My new brother will come to pick me up. Nate looked as if he'd heard the funniest joke ever, a smirk of disdain playing on his lips. Your new brother? Who would want to be your brother besides me? Do you really think you're such a catch? Who says no one would want to? A gentle, unfamiliar voice cut in, assertively. Someone lightly tapped my back. I turned around curiously. Who? A dapper, handsome man looked at me, ruffling my hair. He was taller and more handsome than Nate, with a kinder expression. He smiled at me. Your long-lost big brother, Jimmy. He reclaimed my suitcase from Nate and took my hand. Come on, little sister, let's go home. Nate's face fell, his eyes widening in disbelief. Jimmy, say that again. Whose big brother are you? Jimmy stood in front of me, smiling slyly. Did I not make myself clear? Let me say it again. Nate, the Smith's adopted daughter, is actually my long-lost sister from the Black family. This is the paternity test. It's genuine, no fakes. We're grateful to the Smiths for taking care of our sister for 3 years. But from now on, you don't need to worry about her anymore. Nate was furious, his eyes fixed on the paternity test as if he wished he could tear it apart and break Jimmy's heart. I suddenly felt a rush of relief, blinking my eyes in delight. Am I not a Smith's adopted daughter? Now that I've found my real brother, what's the problem? If I have a real brother, why should I stay with you? Jimmy seemed to genuinely believe I was the Smith's adopted daughter. He thought the fake paternity test in his hand was solid proof. He lazily glanced at Nate, adding, That's right. You're just an unwanted adopted brother. How can you compare to my real brother? Nate's face was covered with fury, looking about ready to explode. He clenched his fists, his knuckles cracking, as if he was about to punch Jimmy in the face any second. I immediately stepped in front of Jimmy, glaring at Nate. The blatant display of favoritism was like adding fuel to the fire. Nate glared at me for a long moment, then suddenly curled his lips into a cold smirk. Bella, are you deliberately trying to piss me off? Congratulations, you've succeeded. If you dare leave with Jimmy, don't ever think you can call me brother again.
To be continued. 500 likes and I'll drop the next chapter as soon as possible.